Hi, everyone. Welcome back to day 4 of Become an Herbalist live event. And this has been an awesome week. I can't believe we're really just getting through as much as we have so fast. I know. Um, and go ahead in the chat and let me know your full name, where you're tuning in from tonight physically, so that I can give you live participation points because we are doing giveaways at the end of this challenge. On the second to last session, we're going to be announcing those winners. And we do have a few more sessions, unbelievably, but we did our Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday. So this is Thursday, so our fourth night. And then we have 4 more sessions after this. So we have a session tomorrow night, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, all at 6 o'clock on Zoom. So the Zoom events have the meetings, I think, all the way through Sunday, and then we'll have a bonus discussion that will communicate through email and through the Facebook group this weekend. So look out for that. Although I could be wrong. Zoom might have set up all of the events, so I'll verify that and check with that for you guys. But welcome, welcome. Tonight our theme is herbal medicine making, a fan favorite, and just kind of what to be looking out for when it comes to basic preparations, the ones that people mostly use, and some of the more potent versions of the regular things that not a lot of people talk about. It's something that really comes up when I do teach it. People are like, oh, I didn't realize this is something that I should really pay attention to. So we'll go into a little bit of that tonight as well. My name is Laura Baum. I'm the founder of Laura's Botanicals, and we are a Richmond, Virginia-based company who, since 2017, have been helping people connect to deeper, more meaningful connections to herbs as medicine, daily preparations using herbs, herbal experiences, and communities. Awesome. I know I kind of addressed this last night, but there's different ways to go about becoming an herbalist. So the kind of herbalist that I advocate for, and the one that's helped me maintain and get all the resources that I have accumulated and what I've been able to do with my communities over the last decade, is not about an herbalism school. It's not about talk down to you type of approach. It's been more of a community-centered approach. You might heard the term community herbalism, but I don't really think I fall into that either. I am an entrepreneur who chooses to build communities and connect others to each other. So I don't necessarily kind of fall under the more like stuff that you might see out there. I generally kind of go my own lane, and proudly so. There have been some issues and things that have come up in the herbalism industry as of late when it comes to, more of the politics involved and some of the more, fine tuning that comes. And I have faith that we're all going to figure this out and we all have our gifts to share. So I definitely value elders and their contributions. I don't go out of my way to not include them, and I include other people, but I want to be very clear that I like to strengthen people and their approach instead of really kind of saying this is the only way to practice, because that's just not true. Herbalism is really the people's medicine. It's an ancient form of therapeutics. It's probably the oldest form besides breath work and working with water, and shamanism. So, we have to respect the fact that it's kind of not meant to be contained in that type of like only very doctor-like structure. I love working with doctors. I know that's not always the most popular saying, but in the holistic world, but I actually do like to find, common ground with them. And especially since I do understand that some of us are not going to be able to get off of our medications, right? Some of these things are definitely for life. So it's just a matter of finding balance, finding who we are truly, our essence, and getting into a pattern of living that brings out joy and vitality and awe and wonder, because it's not just about how we are feeling in the moment acutely, it's how we're feeling on the long term, right? So we're looking at the acute like in the moment, removing those symptoms, but also those underlying patterns of disharmony that causes our illnesses to begin with, our environment, our mental disposition, our toxins in our environment, our mental health, our mental outlooks. Cool. Now that's over. Let's jump into today's lesson. So, it's of course this is it's a big space, right? Herbalism. It's huge. And you're always going to be learning, right? You're always going to be learning. But with my approach, with my process that I've taught you all this week, the core pillars, the core routines being the garden and the herbal apothecary, you will be able to kind of break off this big thing into smaller chunks because you're taking it easy, you're taking it streamlined, focused on one thing after another. And you're going to have better relationships with those plants and with the medicines that you make as a result. So let's fill the apothecary, right? When it comes to filling the apothecary, um, you know, we let me just make sure I can see myself. And can you guys see me in big view? Am I big right now? I might just make sure I'm going to look at the participants, make sure we're all muted. 1 second. Okay, cool. I think we're all good now. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. So I see we have people coming in, tuning in their names. Good stuff. All right. So when it comes to, the beginning and the foundational learning, you're going to be making a few different herbal medicines on a cyclical basis, meaning every single season, you're going to be reminded to make certain things because you're going to associate those herbal medicines or those preparations with those seasons. Make sense? Awesome. An herb can be defined, and I'm just pulling this from my Herbalism 101, because I have all of these ebooks and things that I have put together, all these programs and courses and things like that over the years. And all from my main program, Everyday Herbalism Fast Track, which is a group program. How I define herbs are, an herb is defined as a plant or a mushroom taken for the intention of healing. Okay. So that's our definition, our working definition. And some people who enter the world of herbs might find results with just a single herb or herbal product, where others might spend their entire lifetimes exploring the many nuances of multiple plants. Awesome. So to understand like plant medicine is to kind of be a chemist because you're breaking down plants into other forms that you then take. We call that the form of administration. And when you're considering giving herbs to other people, you would consider those types of things like, are you interested in taking teas or tinctures, for example? And if the person's like, well, I've never heard of what a tincture is, which you're going to find a lot of people have no idea what tinctures are. You might explain that to them and you might try it, but it has to fit who they are and their constitution, what kind of things that they can actually take in their body. Like if they can't consume alcohol, we would not provide an alcohol-based tincture. Teas are, of course, very familiar to people. And plants, when you're breaking them down into a new product, certain chemicals in those plants are extracted. So they are, whatever's in the plant is released into this other thing that you're then going to take into your body. So we're talking about internal preparations today and maybe a couple topicals because there's a few popular ones for topical as well. And with, these things, these chemicals that are in these plants, these are natural occurring things that happen because of the plant's defense systems against their own environment. This is why we should be so firmly protecting plants from the most deeply, the deep interiors of wild woods or woods that have been untouched. We call it old growth forest, right? Old growth forest is a type of forest that has been allowed to grow naturally for a very long time and has not been interrupted by cutting, by removal, by creating cities, the normal things that we know is true. most woods that we know are just a couple years, a couple decades old. Old growth forest has been permitted to grow uninterrupted for like 100, 200 years. So the plant populations are intact with the mycelial underbellies, all the mushrooms and fungi and the trees, of course. And that creates really strong therapeutic action. So we should all be very, very grateful and very protective of those spaces, right? Because the herbs that come from there are truly specific and truly strong and potent. So on this discussion of potent herbal medicine, I want to introduce that to make something super powerful and super potent, it has to be cared for, it has to be loved, it has to be nurtured, it has to be protected. When you're creating your garden, it's truly your garden. It's truly your essence. It's your work. I believe firmly, and I mean, you could look into methods like um, permaculture designs and Rudolf Steiner and a couple other like, philosophical backgrounds when it comes to earth and how we engage in it. How you garden in itself could be a healing therapeutic action, not just for you, but for everything that's going to interact in your garden space, animals, other people, insects, right? And it can get very nuanced how intelligent and how innate your design can be in regards to bringing out the most potent therapeutics in your plants. And that comes down to harvesting too. Harvesting at different times of day, like when the dew is collected. These types of things signify a more potent collection time for your herbal medicine. Um, the power of energetics in herbal medicine, the vibrational tools. If you are familiar with flower essences, the Bach compendium, homeopathy, that plant medicine isn't just the whole plant. It can be just its energy and its flower and its vibrational patterns and the therapeutics within that as well. Awesome. So I wanted to mention that too. Like when we're talking about potent herbal medicine, it's not just the things you formulate, it's the herbs themselves, it's the recognition and the gratitude practice that you build with the plants that you choose to develop relationships with, that they are sentient beings. They're not here to just serve us at our will. We are here to communicate and to thank them for the gifts they bestow to us. A thought that I had this week, because as you know, the planets are in alignment for the first time, I think in maybe 100 years, maybe a little less. I think of the Angelina Jolie movie because that's what's happening within Laura Croft. It's all the planets are aligned and they have to go to this certain spot on the Earth at this one time. Whatever. If you're familiar with early 2000s action movies, I have a soft spot for that kind of stuff. I like movies about archaeology and things like that, as you could probably tell. But the word plant, is almost the word planet. Have you guys ever noticed that? For me, I kind of been playing with that in my head a minute this week because there used to be a system that was very popular that Nicholas Culpeper brought to light. This would be, I think, in the 1700s. And a lot of the older herbals from Europe are, of course, completely free and available online. But we'll get into research for another training this week for you what to look for. But planet, plants, it's only missing that E. And the planets, and there was this thing called astroherbology, and that is the ability to understand body mapping through astrology, and depending on different times of the year and how your body presents, it aligns with certain planets, and planets can give us a lot of information about health in general and influences over the body. So I just think it's really interesting that we're all meeting on this week. It's a very holistic minded event. And here we are under the dominion of the planets being in alignment. So when I say the planets are in alignment and so are we truly are, because there is that understanding that as above is below in health. And there, that used to be with interwoven into how health was approached. It was very common knowledge and very everyday knowledge to take care on certain times, depending on how the moon was and the sun was and the placement of the stars. So I wanted to start that conversation about you, right? Again, you as the herbalist, who you're stepping into, the empowerment of that herbalism has had many different types of generations of approaches, that we are very much who we are in the time we are now. Yet we have access to the tools of yesterday and the tools of tomorrow to make us the most, incredible herbalists. There's a reason for that we are doing what we are doing now. And the plants are ready. The plants are ready. And your theme matters. It was your intuition and your thought process that drove you to your theme. So I want you to celebrate that is something very unique. So these plants created these defense mechanisms, and these mushrooms too, to their environments. They create these barriers so that insects don't eat them, or the insect gets sick, or the insect gets trapped, like you see in Venus flytraps. They have these mechanisms and they create chemicals as a response to their environment, much like our body does. And the plants, those chemicals are what we seek to seep into our teas and extract into our tinctures or our syrups. And a lot of these chemicals include, we call them constituents. So they have many purposes for the body because a single plant could possess 1,000 different chemicals. But these classes of chemicals include alkaloids, lipids, mucilages, saccharides, polyphenols, and terpenes. Terpenes are really interesting. That's why the bitter flavor in many plants are terpenes. So getting to know even by flavors, you can realize an action that a plant will have. These active constituents are the chemicals, and they're believed to have the most impact on human health. And those plants and mushrooms for those old growth forests I was talking about, these are some of the mushrooms and plants that if they were studied, and some of them, many are, a lot of them independent studies, are discovered to be some of our most potential pharmaceutical allies for anti-cancer, for support to protect our bodies from radiation and some of the modern ills that we have in society, from antibiotic resistance, which is a major problem in hospitals, from overuse. So it's in all of our interests to talk about this and to make traditional herbal medicine as a message for people to try it and to continue the legacy. Isolating one constituent from the rest of the plant, is not the same as trying the whole plant. Pharmaceuticals tend to extract one and isolate it. We are taking the whole plant as it's designed in its whole form. An example of this is an ingredient that's derived from the willow tree, salicylate, salicin. And it can be hard on the stomach in its isolated form, but herbalists don't observe that same effect from using it in this whole form as the whole bark. So let's talk about some of our most popular extractions. Water. Water is life. It's universal. When you don't have it, it's insane. I mean, I've just witnessed that in my city that I'm living in. And it's something that is definitely probably the first form of medicine ever. People bathed in water and did water rituals, cleansing. There was a lot of approach with water. And water is also usually readily available. People can normally get it in this clean form to use a preparation with. And you can use cold, warm, or hot water depending on the plants and what's appropriate. So herbal tea is very popular and very great for stress reduction, and it's very meditative to do. Water is a great solvent, or it's able to extract really well minerals and mucilages and polysaccharides. It's not a good preservative though, so we can't use it for other things, and we can't hold on to tea for too long, a day or two at most, refrigerated. It's very refreshing when you use a cold water tea in the summer or a sun tea in the summer, and it's very, therapeutic and comforting and warming in the winter time. So it's a great tea, a great preparation for all year round use. Um, and tea can be done either in a cooking method on the stove called a decoction, or in a non-cooking form called an infusion. And an infusion is when you take close to boiling water and you cover your herbs in a closed ceramic vessel, and you allow that herbal mixture to steep in the water for 20 minutes, about a quarter cup to a half cup of dried sifted herb to about a cup and a half of water. And it sits for 20 minutes. That's an infusion. You do the herbal infusion for herbs that are aromatic, light, and above the ground. So if you imagine a plant, and a plant is growing, the parts that grow above the ground, not under the ground, and they're not hard. So not your barks, not your roots, not your hard seeds, your leaves, your flower petals, your light and tender fruits, berries. And you don't want to cook those things, right? You don't want to cook aromatic plants on a stovetop because all of those precious aromatic oils that are inside the plant, because plants also can have a lot of essential oils, as you know. That's also a wonderful area of herbal medicine, is the actual chemistry of essential oils and hydrosols and distillation. And you probably should put some essential oils into your own themed workspace, right? Because they are very important to have as well. So you don't want to cook those because those aromatic compounds are going to go right through the steam and out into the air. So it's not going to be appropriate. Those flowers are going to fade, the color is going to fade, and they're not going to have those fragrances or the chemistry from the essential oils within your tea. So for your decoction, though, your cooking method, that's going to be the below the ground, your roots, your harder parts of your plants, your thick stems, your barks, hard seeds, mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms. And you want to do the same amount of herb to water ratio. It was like a half cup dry sifted cut herb to a cup and a half of water on the stove top. And you are going to bring that to a boil and then down to a gentle simmer for 20 minutes. So both methods, the infusion and the decoction, both of those tea infusions are both a 20-minute time frame. Now, you want to make whole herb teas because, one, the potency of the herbal medicine is superior to a tea bag. Two, you can control the sourcing of the herbs, either your garden or the other areas that you're going to be exploring with your new garden supply line strategy. You know that it's going to be coming from a reputable local farmer's market or a reputable herb supplier, preferably local. You can probably get all that you need locally. And there's a lot of connections that need to happen, some relationships that have to be formed to make those things happen, but you can create all of that self-reliance locally. And there's lots of microplastics and estrogen disruptors, so endocrine disruptors that wreak havoc on our hormones, especially in women, and the delicate ecologies of our bodies in typical tea boxed products and a lot of products. So you can control that by blending and cutting and making your own herbal teas. And since you have your own theme and you're choosing only a few recipes, you really don't have to worry about being overwhelmed by doing this. This could be an easy activity you put on your schedule to make and fill up your herbal apothecary week by week through this duration cycle of this theme. So yes, a lot of those tea formulas too are not appropriate by design because they use the wrong parts of plants in the wrong type of preparation. For example, If you are getting a sleepy time, I think it's Celestial Seasons tea, right? And the tea formula on the back of the box says that it needs to have, or that it contains valerian root and rose petals. I'm not sure if they do that exactly. I think it has valerian and chamomile, but I'll just do valerian and rose for today. If you're just putting a tea bag together and infusing it into water, you're not getting a strong enough tea because now you know valerian root is meant for a decoction method. It's meant to be cooked, and rose petals are meant for the 20-minute infusion. So really, those herbal tea bags are just a little blip. They're not really doing anything significant. So that's just another example of how the formula requires the proper attention to become the proper potent herbal medicine that you desire. We're not really doing our bodies any favor. Now, if you're in a pinch, sure. But try to find tea bags that are BPA free or from particular sources that are not known to have microplastics. There's a very recent study that's shown how many there really are in a lot of popular brands. So check that out and be a smarter consumer from now on. Awesome. So water, it's, that heat excites it, the herbs burst, and the chemistry is in those plants goes into the water, and that's how you get your herbal tea. Awesome. The other very popular forms of herbal medicine include capsules, tinctures, herbal vinegars, herbal oils, and herbal glycerins. And, again, herbalism is the time of the age that you are in. And, there were herbs in the early 1900s that were super popular. And some of them to this day still maintain their popularity. There's some commercial formulas that began over 100 years ago, and they're still made today because they work so well. So it's going to be really exciting for you all to get into like that larger area, and that world of specifics for you and your theme, and that area of experimentation. Last thing I want to share about herbal medicine making tonight is that the herbal medicine is processing, and it's taking its time to be created. Things are happening. It's not delivered to you in this pill and then you don't ever see the process. As herbalists, we're within the process where we are dictating and creating that herbal medicine experiences as it's becoming. So it's quite an amazing journey to make it and to make another batch, and to see it get stronger and stronger as you get stronger as an herbalist. Awesome. That is what I have tonight. I'm now going to segue into looking at the chat and just making sure I am not missing anything out. Great. And I'm going to segue into, sharing the reason why we're gathering this week besides, besides getting together. I want to introduce you to my program, Everyday Herbalism Fast Track. And I'm very excited about it because it's a very special place for me. And it's a really great community, first and foremost. And so I really just love holding the space and love sharing the trainings with those who join us. So let me just get the presenter view. Everyday Herbalism Fast Track. And we are starting February 11th, 2025. That is the start date for our next cohort. And we have a private community. I'm there as your herbal mentor when you need me. So to just give you more and more of my expertise, I've been doing this for 10 years. I've taught thousands of hours at this point in education as a whole. And within herbalism, hundreds. I've done this program in person before over the course of 3 years, as well as one-to-one individualized. And then we became a hybrid program. And I really enjoyed the hybrid program because we all are just there doing our own systems and coming together to do projects and sharing our insights and our discoveries. This is for everyone, no matter where they are in their health journey. We've had individuals who have serious health concerns who need a little bit more structure, and other folks who just need general health maintenance and preventative care. You get access to all of my protocols for 12 months, all of my recipe guides, and I give a lot of suggested themes to follow, and as well as my case studies for how those went, so that you can have some inspiration to get started. And um, you get other additional calls and training calls. Those happen once a month with me and other practitioners in holistic health. And everything is paced out. It's your journey. You take it where you want it to go. I do include individualized coaching calls as well as group coaching calls for both tiers of this. So there's a VIP tier. They get whoever chooses the VIP tier will get more customized care, like one-to-one calls, besides the other just 3 calls that are happening within the group program. So the group program tier, you're getting, a 3 or 4 calls over 6 months, whereas the VIP tier gets a lot more of that kind of customization, and they really need help creating their communities or really need help with their health. And there's a private community, and that's really amazing. And the community is already formed from previous cohorts. So there's just tons of like background things that have already occurred that are within that group already. So it's coming into an ongoing conversation, an ongoing discussion around plants and plant-based healing today. And we've just had a lot of great feedback from our clients, past and present. There are a few hundred people who've done our system to date in either a workshop or the mentorship directly, and as well as the Herbalism Fast Track program. And we are there to help you lean in and discover and amplify your understanding of what's going on, but also to provide definite structure, and to help you, apply the process that we've provided you this week with even more depth and confidence. So we're giving you customized grocery lists, or we could give you customized herb support for resource suppliers in your area. We're helping you connect the dots and build those critical relationships with local suppliers with done for you emails and strategies to enhance that from our own experiences. And we, yeah, we have a lot of farmers market background. So we really know how to leverage those connections and make them work for the consumer as well as for the person who's choosing to start an herbal business. So many of our people who've joined our programs have already been practitioners, nurses, massage therapists. Uh, I've worked with doctors, functional medicine doctors who want to apply herbs, as well as just everyday consumers, and people who were consumers who now have gone on to create businesses or farms. Like this started a whole new thing for them. They've changed their lives because of our programming. Um, we have a body literacy academy that we're going to provide as a bonus. So this bonus is for this launch only, meaning at the end of this launch period, which is next week, the 4th of February is when the doors will close. This will go away, but for now we are including it. And this is going to be a really great help to this group who's gathered this week specifically, because a lot of you guys who have reached out to me from email or direct message have questions about body actions and body and how the herbs actually affect the body. So we're including that course as a bonus for you. And like I said, with the VIP tier, you're just getting a little bit more concrete support. Um, we're really breaking down those herbs a lot more for you, giving you custom formulas from our own apothecary. So, you everybody will get formulation background, understanding. Everyone can bring their questions to me, but VIP is a little bit more fine-tuned because of their health needs. So with all the bonuses, the program is valued at 5,000, but the cost is 12 monthly payments of $150. And that's actually an $1,800 cost. It's not 2,000. And we love to keep this rolling, and we look forward to having you in our program this year. It's going to be a really solid community and wonderful if you're trying to get a super strong foundation in all of the herbal skills. So foraging, gardening, we go month by month. So month one, we're making our game plan and we're going right into herbal profiles. We're going into the actual herbal formulas or the organization of your apothecary. Month two, we're focusing on the garden and we're focusing on how to set up the garden properly, if whether it's container or raised bed or larger, as well as all of your foraging skills. I've run 7-day foraging accelerator challenges before. I know botany, I know taxonomy. So I have 100% confidence that I can get you from not knowing any of the plants to knowing a lot of the plants locally in your area, as well as being able to understand the formulas, understand combinations of herbs, understanding your local biodiversity, as well as the native plant lists. All of this information is out there, but we're helping you navigate finding the answers for your everyday solutions. So it's really like I'm in your back pocket to be there for you when all of these questions come up naturally, and helping you with design, make sure you have all the benchmarks checked off so that if you do go to clinical school, you're ready, because you want to have those foundations in place before you choose to do a clinical path. Or if you want to just be a community herbalist, you have those foundations so you can teach other people the skills you've learned. And just for your personal health too, you have your system in place, you know which herbs to take, why to take them, how to take them, and there's really no lack of confidence because you're in the circle with people over time to develop your skills, soundboard off others, get support, get incredible, acknowledgement, and you can share your discoveries at any time. And that's really beautiful. It's the community at heart, really, honestly, is this product, because we are there to encourage one another. And even when we're not feeling like we're in it, to get back on the horse. It's not always going to be me who's able to provide that for you. It's going to be other people. So I'm really excited about what we can discover and do together with herbs this year. Awesome. So I will put the information for the website in the chat. And yeah, let me do that. So first I'll do the replay page. If you haven't figured that out or found that yet, that is the page where you can access information of everyday herbalism fast track through it, but you also that's where the replays are for this week. So let me put that in the chat first, because you'll need that if you don't have that yet to paste somewhere or to open up and keep throughout the week. And you'll see all the videos there. I had a couple questions about that. They said they only saw day 1 or day 2. No, it's day 1's at the top, but then if you scroll down, you'll see all the rest of the days as they're being built on each other within their own sections. So I wanted to show you that first. And then last, I'll give you the actual website of the Herbalism Fast Track. So you have that. And if you have any questions at all, I'm here for you to answer those questions on DM or email, laura@laurasbotanicals.com. And I am messaging everybody throughout the week just to check in and make sure you're doing okay. If you are like still kind of lost with the system, or you'd like some clarification of this product, or of your personal health, please don't hesitate, because the way it is with me too is I have excellent practitioners in my corner. I have amazing naturopathic physicians and functional medicine practitioners and chiropractors. And so no question is a bad question, because we literally can tap you into our network and get you the resources you need to find solutions. It might not always be from me. It could be I could be your best advocate and your best organizer. At heart, I am an organizer and networker. First, I really believe in the strength and power of networks. So you'd be surprised at what we can come up with just a simple discussion. So I just put my calendar booking link in there as well. Thank you for your time. We are meeting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. I believe we're going into foraging tomorrow night. Does that sound right? Foraging? Okay. So we'll jump into a little conversation about the best tools for foraging tomorrow. And yeah, I look forward to that conversation. It's always a very exciting one. And have a great evening. I will save this chat. Thank you. Have a great night.